We're going to take a short tour and walk around inspection of the Beech Skipper. This is what we would normally do as a pre-flight inspection before we're going to fly. Airplane's in the hangar today because it's cold and snowy outside. So we'd start at the left flap. The flap is the inboard trailing edge of each wing. They move together and serve to slow the airplane and add drag, helping with descent for landing. So the flap, give it kind of a little movement, make sure everything's solid and it's looking good. Notice the sign that says no step. That's because the airplane structure is made out of aluminum. The black area on the wing is made to stand on, but the painted areas are not. They're lightweight and will not hold your weight. Moving outboard, here's the left aileron. We're going to check the aileron for freedom of movement. And we're also going to, it's a little too dark for you to see it, but we're inspecting the connecting hardware to make sure it's there and in good shape. We'll move our way on up, check the other hinge, make sure that's good. And with that, the aileron looks fine. Moving out to the wingtip, we make sure the wingtip is not damaged in any way. We check the lights. These are the strobes and the position lights. Make sure they're in good shape. Then I like to sight down the leading edge and look for any damage. Looking across the top of the wing, looking underneath the wing. This is the pitot tube. Air hits that and goes in and operates the airspeed indicator. Make sure that's clear. Working our way down the leading edge of the wing, we check the fuel. We always visually check the fuel to make sure that there is enough. We don't always trust the fuel gauges in airplanes. Again, it's too dark down in there for you to see, but the fuel is at the tabs, which in this airplane means there's 10 gallons. There's 10 gallons on each side is where I keep it, and that gives us enough for 4 hours of flying, which is plenty for a 1 hour lesson. Next thing I check on the leading edge of the wing is the stall indicator. If the nose gets high enough with respect to the oncoming wind that the wind gets underneath here and pushes up on that, then we know that the angle of attack is too great and we're approaching the point where the wing doesn't want to fly. That's called the aerodynamic stall. Anyway, we're making sure that that moves freely and isn't clogged by a dead bug or something. Then, looking underneath the wing, we've got the tire, checking the tread on the tire. We also check the brakes. The brakes, we can visually check the brake pads. You won't be able to see them on the video, but they're down in there. And we look for any dripping of brake fluid on the floor. Next thing we check is we drain a little fuel out. Now, hopefully you can see on the video that this fuel is a blue color, and the blue color indicates it's 100 low lead gas, which is what this airplane is designed to use. If there was any water, it would come out in that fuel sample. There is another fuel sample that can be taken underneath the engine, and there's another one in the other wing tank. Well, we're down here under the front of the plane. We're going to check the nose wheel, make sure the tire's in good shape, inflated properly, and that the nose strut, that's this part, is extended correctly. About 5-6 inches is good. This looks fine. Looking over the cowling, looking for missing fasteners. We got the propeller, checking the propeller blade to make sure it didn't get damaged with a rock or something. We're looking at the prop spinner, making sure all the screws are in place, that there aren't any cracks. You can check the other side of the propeller, looking for any chips or nicks, that kind of thing. Both front and back, leading edge, trailing edge. Looks good. This airplane is a Lycoming engine. The Lycoming engines have alternators in front, and so we reach in here and check the belt for the alternator, make sure it's in good condition and tight. Next thing we check is the oil. So we have a little hatch that we can open up and peer inside the engine compartment. So the oil dipstick is right here. That's also the spot where you add oil. And we can pull that out. We can look at the dipstick. It shows about 4.5 quarts. It's hard to see because the oil is very fresh in this airplane, so it's clean and you can't see it so well, but I can see it. We'll go ahead and close that. Make sure it's secure. Now we work our way on the other wing. Before we do that, we'll take a quick look at the fuselage. The windshield is clean. That's good. No damage. No damage on the leading edge again. Check that out. Similar to the other side, we'll check the fuel level. Again, this one is 15 gallons. If it's all the way full, you won't be able to see in there. 10 gallons at the tab. So we'll go ahead and secure that. Next, we crawl under the plane and do one more fuel sample. You'll notice I'm not throwing away my old fuel samples because I'm in the hangar. I don't have anywhere to put it right now. But still blue, still no water on the bottom. While we're down here, let's check that brake. Brake pads look good. No brake fluid on the floor. Tire tread looks good. These should be, they're brand new tires. And the inflation of the tire is also good. Okay, let's take a quick look down the leading edge of the wing, which is in great shape, and the wing tip with the strobe lights, position lights. We have an aileron here to look at, same as the other side. To crawl around some stuff here. So we're going to check the hinges, check the other hinge. Overall, looking at the aileron, making sure there isn't any damage to it, that it moves freely and properly. And then back to the flap. So we're on the right hand flap now. There's the wing walk from the other side, the door. And looking down this side of the fuselage. While we're standing here, I'd like to take a quick look at the antennas. Make sure they're in good shape, not loose. We've got a variety of antennas on the top and the bottom of the airplane, some way up there. Going down to the bottom, we've got a variety of antennas on the bottom as well. Making sure they're in good shape. And the tail cone, don't want any big dents, somebody hit it or something. The Beech Skipper has a T-tail. The tail is way up high. Doesn't make much difference in the flying of the airplane, but it makes it easy to walk around it while you're in the hangar. So we're going to make sure that the elevator moves correctly and that the hinges are in good shape. The trailing edge of the tail is the trim tab. So this is the elevator, horizontal stabilizer, elevator, and trim tab. So making sure those hinges are tight. Everything is looking really good. While we're back here, we have the rudder, and there's a do not push sign on the rudder. So we don't want to push hard on it, but we can give it just a little wiggle to make sure it's snug. Coming around the other side, check the other side of the horizontal stabilizer, elevator, and trim tab. Look solid. Antennas, the tail, this side of the fuselage, and that brings us all the way back to where we started.